Okay, we're going to do our V in our love made out of interesting letters. The V we're going to make out of plants, leaves, stems, things like that, and have those overlap to make them look interesting and realistic. So first I'm going to start down at the bottom where the two lines of the V meet, and I'm going to kind of make I guess like a bulb, like a part for the plant to start at. Okay, so then we're going to start a stem, and so we just want to make two lines parallel going up following the shape of the V here. Okay, so then we're going to have it branch off and start to have leaves and little stems and twigs and things, but we need to make sure that we're not getting too crazy because we want to keep this general V shape. So let's have it go out, but then back in. A little bump. Okay, now the other side's going to follow that. It's going to meet up here, so it's going to become a point. Go out, back in, but to a point. Alright, and then on this side we're going to have the stem continue on. So I'm going to go on that comes up, right past that. Okay, let's make another little leaf shape. Right there. And on this side we can come up a little further and make a smaller one. Okay, I'm going to have this branch out a little bit. So I'm going to come away from our guideline. And let's put a little flower out here. Bump, 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 until you get back to the beginning. And in the middle of the flower, we need to make sure it's got pollen, so go ahead and separate those petals. Okay, and then I'm going to follow the one I started over here and keep going up. So we can see it's spreading a little bit, but it's not getting too far off of our V. And in between, this is too wide, it needs to be two separate stems. So I'm going to put a V that shows that this is splitting into two parts. I can even kind of add a little curve there to show that this part and this part I've separated. Okay, I'm going to put a little leaf and go up to my flower. Okay, I'm going to make another one of these little pointy bumps, so let's do it up here. Bump. Touching my flower a little bit. And this doesn't have to look like a realistic plant. I'm not using any reference, just doing natural shapes. Okay, and then finish that bump. Okay, I'm curving this in to kind of match. And let's make some leaves at the end. Our V. Some more leaves. Okay, so got half my V here. Alright, so we're gonna come off the other side and do a similar thing. Let's make a sprout. I'm gonna keep it kind of like a blade of grass right here on this side. And then coming from that one, we'll make another one the other way. And let's do one more. These pointy blades of grass. See, I made them long and skinny. If I made them too short, they wouldn't work to make this kind of grass overlapping feel. They would look more like scales. Alright, coming out of our grass, let's make a stem. So just 2 parallel lines. And then we can get up here, we'll make some leaves. Don't like to put them perfectly next to each other, kind of do some overlapping like that. Make them look more natural. You can also add line down the middle. Make a curved line here. Copy that over to the other side, but don't make it to a point because I think we'll do some leaves on the end here. 1, 2. And there's the point. Okay, and then we will do a less curve there. And match it on the other side. Alright, how's our V looking? Nice. Okay, then the cool thing about this one is that just like the others, we can go back and add shading and texture to help us make it look more 3D and realistic. So I'm going to go and erase my guideline. So any of that original V that's not helping my picture anymore, get that out of there. Okay, down here the little part that's like a bulb or a seed, I want to kind of put some roots. So a root, I'm going to make like a squiggly line. So then coming off that squiggly line, you make smaller squiggly lines. And we can do that all over this. Make it look like it was rooted in the earth and got pulled out. Draw softly, don't go crazy or scribble these. Try to make them realistic roots on a plant. Okay, now that I have my little roots, I can come in and put a little shading on the bulb up to the stem. Okay, so my stem to have a little bit of darkness to it, because if I colored it, it would be green, right? And it could have different colors of green, so I want the bottom to have more of a darker, richer color, and then as it goes up to the little points of the leaves, would be having a lighter color. So I'm going to shade the pieces of grass closer to the bottom of the piece, make it dark, and as it goes up to the pointy, let it lighten up. Okay, and then on this side, this piece is overlapping, so we'll give it a little shadow. And let's go to make some details on this leaf. So a leaf can have a line down the middle for the veins of the leaf, and then you can come off that line and make a pattern of stripes, and that's going to make it look like it has the veins in the leaf. Let's do that with this one too. Oh, these guys, I've already got the line down the middle. Little shading. I think it's okay if yours doesn't look like mine, obviously. Everybody's pictures are going to look different. Especially if this is a new skill. I'm going to do a little shading on this stem. I like to have the stem have a little shading, especially under a leaf or something like that. Make it stand out. Let's keep shading it. And then I'm going to leave that little part light, but this part I'm going to start shading so that there'll be a difference here between the two parts of the stem. I'm going to shade this part over here. And here under these leaves. So you see this one's kind of popping out here. I could shade that. Alright, let's take a look. Whoa! Kind of a cool V. My roots aren't really standing out, and so what I'm going to do is outline them to make them look like they're actually little white roots. Okay, so what we'll do is next to the line that you made, it's going to be really small and intricate, so you got to be kind of careful. You're just going to make another line. So I'm making it kind of dark so you guys can see what I'm doing. See how I did that? Do that on every one of your little root hairs. If you need to erase some, you can. That's why you shouldn't draw as hard as I'm doing right now, because it would be hard to erase. But I just want these to actually show up. The way I had them, they were kind of too light for the rest of the picture. So I've got these thick lines. Alright. Outlined each of my little roots. Whoa. Ooh. There we go. Now we can actually see them. Okay. To finish up helping my roots stand out, and maybe some more of my plant, I'm going to kind of give shading to the background, sort of like I did on the ribbon. So between those little white roots, I'm going to color in a little bit. Make sure you don't color over your roots, because we just went through all the trouble of outlining them. But between each root, do a little coloring. It's also going to kind of help it make it look like it's in the dirt, or like maybe dirt clods are stuck to it. And you can see as I get further away, I push less and less and make less and less lines. So it kind of fades out. Maybe put some up here too. You push super soft, the lines won't take over your picture. Okay, and so then I can kind of make some shading lines that follow plant. So it kind of looks like this plant is sitting just a little bit above the paper and light's shining on it to make it cast some shadows on this paper here. Alright, I think the last thing I'm going to do is my little flower here. I'm going to give it little lines in its petals because it's not standing out quite enough with everything else being so dark. I'm going to go in each petal, make a little line right down the middle. Bring it back out. There we go. Okay, so we've got our L-O-V, our love, where we are trying out different ways to write letters. This one was plants. There you go. Okay guys, bye.